Hello everybody, welcome back. This week we're going to be doing a like a particle explosion effect on your portraits, and you can do this with the one that's head on like this one, or you can do one that's profile. I grabbed a portrait of mine that I took recently in the same spot that I took some of yours. This is my passport photo for moving. Actually, it's not a well, I guess I can use it for a passport. It's my visa photo for when I move to Southeast Asia next fall. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is pull this off the background. Um, so let's do this. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on channels. So I'm continuously refining my methods for pulling people off the background. So just, you got your layer stack here. I've unlocked a layer. I've just clicked on it. I'm going to go over here into channels. And then what I do is I go down and look for the one that has the most contrast between the foreground and the background, which looks like the blue channel. Okay, so then I'm going to go down here and copy it. Just click, just drag it down. And let's see here. So let's go into image adjustments. So what we want to do is we want to create as much contrast along that border, the hair border, as much as possible. So go down here to threshold, and it will turn it into a black and white, just pure black and pure white. And if we drag this up, we can start to get a pretty good job of those values. Okay, push OK. And then the next step, you're going to push Command or Control right here on the icon. You just click, and then bingo, you've got a good selection. You got to make sure you click on the RGB. That's the one we actually want. And then click back over into Layers. And then you're going to do is you're going to right click. Actually, you don't need to right click. We're just going to go, let's see here. I'm not seeing the option that I want. Here, let's select and mask. There we go. Whoa, cancel that. All right. So I wasn't on a selection tool, and it's selecting the white, so I need to make sure I reverse that. So go up here and go select inverse. And then before we click select and mask, let's just go down in here and do a better job with the selection. So we're just going to click this automatic tool, the auto select, the quick selection, and we'll just kind of go around and make sure that we did a good job. So you can see here in my ear, not a very good job. Okay, most of it looks okay. Definitely an issue around the collar, and that looks pretty good. All right, so now we're going to go click here to select subject. Actually, let's go select and mask. All right, you can see all right away it's got a transparent background. It actually did a pretty good job. I can't zoom in too far because it gets too pixelated, but this looks pretty good. We can go in here a little bit more with the radius, and you can start to see that it brings, it just looks horrible. But a little bit, like 1 pixel or 2 pixels might be valuable to you. That'll just do a better job along that edge. And you can play with some of these other sliders. It's kind of obvious what they do, but that one might not be as obvious. And the shift edge just moves the whole thing in closer, which we might do a little bit. Okay, and then, yeah, push OK. Cool, so there's our selection. I'm going to do a Command J, and then I can turn off the background layer, and you can see I've got just my face in the foreground. All right, so let's start this effect. Actually, what we need to do first is we need to get a new brush. So right here I have what's called a speckle. So I just went over to Chrome, and I typed in speckles, and just click on images, and I think this is the one I used. I just clicked on it, zoomed in. It doesn't need to be like a good image, because it's going to end up being a brush tool, so as long as it's got good black and white values to it. Copy, bring it back over into Photoshop, File, New, create, and then just paste, and boom, we've got a speckle. Okay, then you go up here to Edit, Define Brush Preset, and then we'll just call it Splatter, or Speckle. Probably makes sense. And boom, now look, I have it already. And if I clicked on black here, I can start to add more speckles. Hey, pretty cool. All right, let's go back up here. There's my brush, it's super big now. All right, so but that's not what we're gonna do right now. So now we're gonna click the lasso tool, and I'm just gonna like randomly draw a line. And then let's go around the outside. And then we're gonna go Command J on that. Oops, let's go back one step. We're gonna save this selection. So we're going to save selection, half face, push OK, and then do Command J. Go back up here and load the selection, half face, push OK. Go back down to this layer, and then we're just going to delete it. Boom. Okay, so if I turn this one on, you can see the two coming together. For some reason there's just like one small pixel wide. Let's go Command T and just close that up. Push OK. All right, there we go. Okay, so now what we're going to do is, how are we going to do this? So now we're going to go to this tool. We're going to put a layer mask on it, on the one with the, it's my left, well, the right side of the screen face. We're going to turn it off. And then we're going to use our brush tool. And we have a speckle. And if I just do that, it'll start to color it in. This isn't that interesting. I mean, it actually is kind of interesting. If I can kind of feather it in there. That looks kind of cool, actually, but that's not the effect I'm going for. In fact, you can do that if you want to. Let me show you something else. We're going to click right here, and it's actually right there, too. It's the brush settings. And you're going to click Shape Dynamics. And see, here is a picture of what your brush looks like right now, which is basically I scroll down here and it does exactly what that picture looks like. So let's undo that a couple times. So now what we can do is play with that a little bit. So the jitter, we'll make it kind of jitter, but this, it'll look, you'll see the preview down there and you'll see if you like that idea. The one that I really like is the scattering. So we can scatter so it looks more like a particle. So it just throws the effect out. And then we can increase the number if we want to. I typically stay at 1 because I want to have more control versus less. I can just click more times if I want to. The count jitter is how many times you're going to run the brush per, like, I don't know, moment on the screen. Doesn't look like it's doing much on this effect right now. And then the angle jitter is kind of cool. It kind of rotates the brush around. And then the roundness jitter is another one I like. It's hard to tell on this particular brush, but it might be more valuable. In fact, let's go and click on this brush, just a round brush. And yeah, see, now you can see it rotates it, the roundness, so it sort of like rotates it, and then it angles it as well. And this is a cool brush to use. Okay, but let's go back to my other brush. Splatter. Okay, let's change a couple of these. Oh, and the minimum roundness, yeah, these are just size, so it's just going to randomize the size of the brush. Yeah, all right. So let's play with this. Okay. Okay, let's just roll over it. Actually, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this and then I'm going to fill in the background with let's do a gradient where it looks like this one, this gradient. Actually, before we do that, let's make this bigger. I'm going to put myself on this side, on the left-hand side of the screen. Let's do kind of a rule of thirds there, somewhat. Okay, and then I'm going to fill the background with a gradient, kind of like a gray, let's do a foreground background sort of thing. Okay, there's the foreground, flip it. Let's do a darker one. There's the background. Wait, that didn't barely made any difference. You can mess with those. All right, and then I can just click. That looks okay. I think I'll just keep it like that. Oh, you can see some of the issue here with the. So I should have gone. Now I should go back and kind of start over and see if I can get a better selection. I should have gone in a little bit. All right, but whatever. Okay, so let's go do some more speckles. Let me do some down here. And I'm already sort of reflecting on this brush. I already kind of don't like it. But that's okay. You should make a few of these. The assignment is going to be to make a few. Okay, so then there's the effect on the face. And actually what I can do is kind of reverse it a little bit. So I've now painting with black, so I'm going to get rid of some of them. Okay, and then we can even make this one a slightly darker. Maybe that's a cool effect. So I'll click the clipping tool here so it only makes, no, that doesn't work. Kind of makes sense. Maybe if I, no, I'm not liking that. Let's go back, get rid of that. Okay, so now what we're going to do, which is a cool effect, we're going to do the same thing, scatter more, but we're going to select a color. So we'll select this color, which is like my skin tone. And then we're going to make a new layer on the top of the stack. And then we're going to speckle with that foreground color in that direction. And then we'll go select hair color, and we'll sort of do that. And then we'll select down here. And then maybe my shirt. That gray. That probably won't show up. Maybe I'll just do the white. And then brush again. Cool. All right, so that's kind of the effect. I wouldn't say I'm super happy with this, but it works. I would probably go back and choose another brush. What if I did something like this? I'm curious what this would look like if I did a Command T on just that speckle and then started to like kind of wrangle those ones. That might be kind of fun to play with, to like make it come in and out of something like a bottle, or I don't know, you can kind of experiment. But that's sort of the idea with this assignment. You kind of just play with this. You do this a couple different times, different backgrounds. I wonder what would happen if I just dropped this whole thing. Maybe threw everything into a folder, except for the background. It's not jumping out at me right now, so I'm just going to experiment a little bit. So then click there, make it just to the, so that looks a little bit better. Okay, so upon reflection, better brush, I think that'd be cool. And then I'd probably go in here and deal with that. That looks a little funny. And I'd definitely get a better selection. So those are the things I'm going to be looking for on yours. But there you go. So the sort of cool speckle explosion technique. Have some fun with it.